Hello, welcome to class. This is a gentle yoga class designed to begin to build strength in the core of the body. You could start seated on a mat, or you could start seated in a chair. If you would like to come along with me and the music, you can go ahead and start your Spotify playlist. So, finding a position where you can stay upright with the spine. This could be in a chair. Remember to sit on the edge of the chair and have the feet planted underneath. And then just begin to notice the breath. Oftentimes we, during the day, will breathe really shallow into the chest. And so notice if that on the breath, on the inhale, if you can expand the rib cage, and then on the exhale, let the rib cage come back in. If you like, you could close your eyes and feel the breath. And you might notice a slight discomfort to begin with when you breathe. Your diaphragm sits underneath the rib cage, and it is actually a muscle. And sometimes if you don't use this muscle very often, it can cause cramping to occur within the diaphragm. So just notice if breathing deeply is uncomfortable. And you could, modify as needed. Maybe breathe deeply a few breaths and then go back to your normal breathing. Now lengthening the spine even more. Let's see if we can find those muscles that run right next to the vertebral column. And then relax the big muscles on your back of your body down. Feeling into your base of the spine. Let's see if we can find a little sway from one side into the other. So I like to think of this as practicing on and off center. So as your body in a yoga pose comes off center, it's really important to stay engaged in the core of your body. So pulling the low belly up just a little bit, creating a little tension there. So we come off center, pulling us back onto center. Now we can take this in a circle. Could be a very small circle to begin with. So circling around the core, realizing that our core is not just on the front of our body, but it's on the sides of our body, and then also on the back of the body. If you like, you can arch the spine a little bit as you go back. Arch the spine a little bit as you go forward. Should not feel any sharp shooting pain or tingling or numbness here. So if you do, just come back to smaller side to side movements. Now notice that you're traveling in one direction. So when you're ready, let's go and travel the other way. Moving around the core, on and off center. Or around center in this particular instance. And then let's bring it back to center. So let's take one arm out. If you're sitting in a chair, you could bring one arm across, and then we're going to side bend the other direction. So one arm out or across, Side bending over. Feel the side core of your body right here. You can bring a little dynamic energy into the arms. And then take a deep breath in and come back through center and go the other direction. Again, if you're in a chair, you could cross your arm across. Take a deep breath in. Let's do that one more time each side. And then bring it to the other direction. Planting the hand, reaching up and over. Breathe. Okay. Wherever you are, we're going to come down and onto all fours. So in all fours, we want to make sure that there is no sharp shooting pain in our knees. So if you need to put a pillow, or not maybe a pillow, but a blanket underneath your knees, that's a good way to adjust for this. And then planting your hands, spreading the fingers. So we're going to begin some cat and cows, which is a core strengthener, also warming up the spine. So we draw the navel into the spine, we press the mat away, and then take a deep inhale and come back the other way. Let the belly hang back of the body. Sometimes if I do this and I'm not really warmed up, if I contract really forcefully into my low belly, I can actually feel my muscles kind of cramp up a bit. So I don't want cramped abdominal muscles to begin with, so I start really gentle. Exhale, navel into spine, inhale up. Two more times wherever you are. Last one. Okay, we're going to sit back onto our heels. If this is uncomfortable to your knees, then just bring it up. And actually, I'm just going to demonstrate from here, but you can always sit back onto your knees. So we don't want the low back arched here. So we want to tuck our tail and engage our center of our core. So let's take a deep breath in and exhale back down. So keeping everything nice and tight into the core, engaging. Inhale the arms up and exhale them back down. Notice that moment that the arms begin to rise. Notice the moment that they touch, and then exhale back down. One more time. We're going to bring ourselves back and onto all fours, and we're going to do spinal balance. So taking one leg back, you could keep the toes curled under here, and then press into the right hand. This is my right leg to the back, and then reach your left arm up. Maybe this is enough for you. You could try lifting that back leg, and notice that I'm looking down so that my head is in the rest of an alignment with my spine, and this is very good for building strength in your core. Now let's bring the hand down. Let's take the leg out to the side, maybe toes up, heel down, and then come up onto your fingertips and arch your spine like the angry cat. Bring it back down. Let's try the other side. So one leg comes out, the other arm comes out, spinal balance. Lifting that back leg only if it feels okay to you. Breathe. Relax your face. Let's bring the hand down. Let's take the leg out to the side. Toes up if it's okay, and then maybe up onto your fingertips and arch the spine, pull the low belly in, strengthen that core. And then let's come back and onto all fours. We're going to try child's pose. So let's take our knees wide and big toes together and sink our hips back. Maybe it feels good to you to just come down onto your elbows. Maybe you could put a block here, or maybe you could put your hands stacked underneath. And then just let yourself rest here in child's pose. So soften the core, soften your hips, soften your shoulders. Take some deep breaths. And from here, we're going to come up and into seated position. Again, you could always come up onto your knees. Let's rest our hands on the tops of our thighs if you're seated. And then just tuck that tail, engage the low belly. Relax your shoulders down. Find a soft gaze out in front of you, taking in your peripheral vision, whole scene. Okay, we're going to find our way onto our back body. So coming over and onto your back body, bring your knees into your chest. Give them a little hug, and then just take them side to side. You could turn your head the same direction that your knees are traveling. And then we're going to take our legs down, and we are going to do some low belly, low back pelvic tilts. So let's just start with a spine that is flat on the floor so that there is no tilt in your low back. And I want you to feel like your thighs are relaxed, but your low belly is engaged, the belly underneath your navel, and it's pressing firmly into the ground. So your back body, there's no arch. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a pelvic tilt. So you're going to move your pelvis, so it's like your tailbone is coming back, and then you create that little low back bridge, right? And then bring it back and down. So it almost looks like you're not moving when you're doing this, but it's super, super good for building strength in the low belly to support your low back. Again, this shouldn't be painful, so just take it to your level. So press the belly down and then arch the spine the other way. You could exhale down and inhale back up. And I find that right away, I start to feel a little bit of tenderness in my low belly. And that means that I'm doing the poses correctly, moving the pelvis and using those low belly muscles. This is something you oftentimes would do in a physical therapy session in order to strengthen this part of the spine, or this part of the core muscle system, trunk muscles. Okay, we're going to hold it there, and we're going to press the low belly into the floor, and then we're going to do one of my favorite core strengtheners, which has to do with the movement of the arms and the legs. So you could take your legs up and notice pressing the low back into the ground. Take your arms up and then maybe lift your head and shoulders up. And so from here, you could hold it right here, pressing the low belly down, or just begin to move your arms and your legs in a swimming motion. And as soon as you start to feel your low back become compromised, you're going to bring your legs and your arms back in closer to the body. So it's harder to move slow and it's harder to move big. So slow and big is like the big, this is the strength building part, right? Harder, but then you could bring it back in and you could always let your head and shoulders come back down to the ground. And then take a deep breath in and lift them back up. Breathe. Try to keep the tension out of your neck. I like this because for a variety of reasons, but one is you're not actually using any of the joints to build your core strength, so it's not like sit-ups. And also it's not as boring as some core poses. It's not static, so it feels like I could maybe do this for a little bit longer than, say, holding a static pose. Taking one more deep breath in and then bringing it back down. Let's take the feet wide on your mat. So you might notice a little bit of soreness in your low back, so we're just going to stretch out those muscles by taking the knees side to side together. This doesn't work if your knees or if your feet are together. It doesn't feel as good. So take your feet apart, wide apart, and then turn your head side to side. Feel that rotation in the spine. Okay, we're going to set up for bridge pose, which is our pose of the day. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we keep our feet parallel. You could use a block by placing it between your legs to keep everything parallel. What we don't want to do is wing out the knees when we do this. So walking our feet in, this pose is called Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. And this is bridge pose. So lifting your pelvis up, we want to keep our thighs pulled towards the center line. So no winging them out. We also want to make sure that we don't come onto our head and our neck. You could bring your hands down underneath you. And if you like, you could lift up your upper chest and draw your shoulder blades together so that you're a little bit more arched in the upper back. So imagine having to hold this pose for, say, 3 minutes. Okay, we're not going to hold it for 3 minutes, but finding a way to find comfort in the difficult, right? So resilience is one aspect of yoga or yoga practice. So breathing through minor discomfort. Don't hold your breath. Squeezing the bottom. One more deep breath in. Starting at the top, slowly lower yourself back down. We're going to take the right leg up into the sky and flex the foot. So my low back is firmly planted in the ground. And then let's just take that leg down a little bit and make sure that your back does not move, your shoulders do not move, and then bring it back up. So leg lifts, nice and gentle. Doesn't matter if this is a big movement or if it's a small movement, but you're using your trunk muscle here to lift the leg up, keeping the tension out of your face, relaxing your jaw. And then we're going to take that leg that's up in the sky, we're going to take it across. So the foot comes across, the knee comes across, and then you can draw it in for reclined pigeon. If it feels okay to you, you could lift up your bottom leg and draw your shin towards your chest. We could gently rock side to side. And this is definitely one of those poses where you can go into the sensation and really try to relax around the feeling of tightness. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to bring that leg down. We're going to switch sides. So leg up into the sky, flex the foot, engage your low belly, press it down, hands come down, press everything strong, shoulders away from your ears, and then slowly lower that leg to a level that feels like it's okay for you, and then bring it back up. You could have this knee bent as long as you are pressing the low belly into the ground. When you're ready, let's cross that leg over. You could hold it here or draw the shin into the chest and rock side to side, nice and gentle. Breathing, sensing where you feel the tightness. Okay, we are going to release the leg and then grab both of our, the backs of both of our thighs and slowly come up, rolling up. And then we're going to come into bridge, or not bridge pose, but boat pose. So boat pose, you're going to flex your feet, you're going to bring your hands here and see if it feels okay to balance on your pelvis. Should be no sharp shooting pain. Breathing. Option to take the legs a little bit away from the body, arms out to the side. Breathe. And then we're going to bring our legs back in. We're going to cross our legs and come back and onto all fours. Breathing. Okay, planting your hands. We're going to curl our toes under and we're going to come into downward facing dog. Now, if you have done this with a chair before, you can feel free to put your hands on the chair. Otherwise, we're going to lift the knees up and then we're going to press back. Knees can stay bent, tailbone up into the sky. Breathe. Begin to straighten the legs maybe a little bit. Maybe you need to take the legs back and create a little bit wider base between the hands and the feet. And then we're going to come forward and into plank. So if you know right away you want to drop your knees, then that is perfect place to be. So notice that my knees are back behind my, my hips, so that I'm in kind of almost like a kneeling push-up position. So this is a great place to start your plank journey, right? Planks are great because they do build core strength. So press the mat away and dome up your upper back, and then maybe lift your knees, plank position. Shaking happens here, and then bring your knees back down. We're going to lower ourselves all the way to the ground, and we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So see if you can get the tops of your feet down on the mat. This is a belly stretch, bringing your elbows right underneath your shoulders, forearms parallel. We're going to pull ourselves forward and then lift. So again, being very gentle with your low back. This is a back bend, a gentle back bend. Breathing here. seeing if you can gently press down the tops of the feet. Just gently press down through the pelvis, and then reach your neck nice and long. And notice if you can feel a stretch in the front of your body. Taking a deep breath in, we're going to bring our hands back underneath and we're going to press up. Now we're going to show a version, or I'm going to show you a version of plank position that doesn't require your wrists. So we're going to come down onto your forearms. And then take your hands and wrap them around your big upper arm muscles and see if you can create a rectangle so that my elbows are right underneath my shoulders. Maybe they're a little bit further in. And then I'm going to take my hands out. I'm going to interlace my fingers. I'm going to curl the pinky fingers under. And then I'm going to take my toes, curling them, and I'm going to lift up. This is dolphin. And then I'm going to walk my feet back. Dropping the knees right here. This is dolphin on, or this is plank position, forearm plank on your knees. And I watched a video of a woman who did this for 9 hours, full forearm plank, and her body was, her shoulders, she was pushing her shoulders away, and so her shoulder blades were really, really showing on her back body because she's actually pressing the body away. This causes shaking. So starting with kneeling is a good place to be. Okay. So press into the whole hand, whole forearm. And this is a very good version of plank to do if you have wrist issues and it doesn't feel good to do regular plank with the wrists. So taking a deep breath in, and then we're going to lower ourselves down and onto our bellies. We're going to take our arms out like cactus arms, turning your head. Breathing. Now we're going to balance on our bellies. If this does not feel good to you, you can come back into child's pose or come back into kneeling plank. We're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to lift the arms, lift the head, lift the feet, and then feel your navel pressing down into the ground. Breathe here. Take a deep breath in, lift a little bit higher, and then relax. Arms down by the sides of your body. You could lay here or come into child's pose. Take some deep breaths. Feel the core muscles wrapping around your center, supporting you, supporting your spine, supporting your abdominal organs. You could breathe deeply and press the belly into the mat. And then inhale and then exhale, let the belly relax. So deep belly breathing is a really good thing to do. It's called abdominal breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. And then wherever you are, we're going to press hands underneath our shoulders and press up and back. We're going to find our way up into standing. So you could come here, balls of the feet, and then press up. And then coming into our mountain pose, feel the strength, feet pressed firmly into the ground, pulling your low belly in, right? I'm on center, so my shoulders are stacked right over my hips. And I don't really have to engage as much as if I come over to the side, right? So let's take our stance out a little bit wider, and we're just going to begin to shift from one side to the other. And I want you to like feel an engagement as you shift your body weight from one side to the other. You can soften your knees a little bit, turn the toes out if you like. So anytime you come off center, it's going to require you to engage, right? So feel that engagement. And then you could also take it front to back, just gently moving the body front to back, maybe bending into the knees. Engaging that core. Inhale up, exhale back. Anytime you on any yoga pose, if you come off center alignment with the spine, super important to engage the core. Okay, moving in any way that feels good to your body before our final relaxation. We're going to bring ourselves down and onto the ground. You could do this seated. You could also keep your knees bent and your low belly supported. You could also put a pillow under your knees and take your legs out long. So I'm just going to pyramid my legs together today. Maybe lift up my upper back, lift up my head, tuck my chin, place my head back down, and find my way into stillness. Connecting to the breath. You could maybe imagine a still pond, a still body of water. And the thoughts that come through, that arise, create ripples in that body of water. And then the ripples die away. See how smooth of a surface you can create. Noticing the space between thoughts. Bringing your awareness back to center. When you're ready, you can slowly roll over and onto or into fetal position. And notice how this is a gentle drawing in towards center. Knees to chest, elbows to belly. Using your hands to press to seated, coming into a chair or back into cross-legged position on the floor. Take a moment to feel the core of the body, your centered body, mind, emotions. You bring your hands together and thank yourself for coming to the practice today. Thanking our community. Namaste.